Hey, this is Michael David Cobb Bowen. How you doing, everybody? I am going to do something a little bit different today, trying to get better at my video abilities, and I'm also trying to do something that makes it more like YouTubers, I guess. And some of you have been following me for years, watching my hair get gray, and watching me give fewer damns about anything. So I think what I'm going to do today is kind of kick back in my living room and just chill out with you for a little while. And I'm tired of talking about things that are so important, and I don't want to make a lot of new folks who I hope will watch my videos think that I am always like that. The interesting thing is, I do this not because it's a concern to me. I do this because I have difficulties connecting with people. You know, have you ever been like in a crowd and you're like, who are all these people? Where do they come from? Everybody kind of behaves differently, and they have different ideas about what makes them cool. Like this shirt, you're like, you ever go like to Tommy Bahama and you're like, there's no way I'm never gonna wear a shirt like that. And then you look at the price, it's a silk shirt, it's like $120, and it's like, this is an old man's shirt. Who would ever do this, right? Or you go to Magic Mountain and you're standing in line for the God, it's been so long since I've been to Magic Mountain. The Gigantor, what is it? Is it the No, it's not the Gigantor. All right, I've completely forgot about. So there's Colossus, and then there's the big tall one that's right near Colossus, which is like the tallest roller coaster ever. And then there's Viper. I remember Viper. I can't remember what's the big one. Anyway, boop. Look in the comments below. Somebody will tell you. But you're standing in a line, and these people are having conversations that are just like so stupid, and you're like, God, I can't believe I got to stand here for 30 minutes with these people. I should have paid for the fast lane pass so I could get away. Get away. So anyway, I thought I would just chill out with you for a while. I've been trying some interesting little things. So this is my second meetup group. So I have a meetup group that I created called the South Bay Grumbling Club, and the idea was interesting. So like, there's about 4 or 5 guys that I hang out with on a fairly regular basis. You know, now that I don't travel around the country all the time, I get a chance to stick around home. And there's one guy, let's call him Mr. A. Mr. A is a really cool guy, but he's not actually cool. He's a Midwestern guy, and he kind of like doesn't get excited about a whole lot of things, so he appears to be cool. Anyway, he's the kind of guy that orders Budweiser at a fancy French restaurant. But he can afford to go to a fancy French restaurant. He's just not a show-off or anything. So Mr. A likes going to like the Italian bar, and we go on the first Wednesdays or the second Wednesday of every month. And there's a bunch of guys that I used to play volleyball with, Mr. A, Mr. V, and 4 or 5 other guys. And then so there's conversations that we have with those guys, which tend to be, you know, conversation X. Then there's another bunch of guys that I hang out with, and they're more they like to talk politics, and they like to talk about society. And so that's Mr. G and Mr. D and Mr. G, the other G. Okay, that's true. There's 2 G's. And that's the Silver Lake Grumbling Club. And we've met about 3 or 4 times, and we have a special meeting around the holiday time where we eat Chinese food, you know. And so I said, well, I have to go way over there to Silver Lake or downtown to meet with the Grumbling Club there, and then these other guys, they they're down here. Why don't I create a club and open it up to everybody so that we could grumble about things that we want to talk about? So sometime, I think in March of this year, 2017, I started the South Bay Grumbling Club, and it's very cool. You can see it in meetup.com before I shut the thing down. And it's turned out I've had about 6 or 7 meetings over the past few months, and I only have like one regular guy, and it's like it's 2Z, 3Z sometimes, and it just turns out that everybody hasn't come. Then there's my old crew that I used to hang out with, and those guys are living in LA, around Crenshaw, and we get together like for each other's birthday, maybe twice a year, if that. And it's like we used to hang out all the time, and now we don't hang out much at all. So I was trying to consolidate it so I could get a good mix of people I know and people I don't know, just to conversate, because conversate is a verb, and talk about stuff. But it just doesn't happen. It's like people used to be on toddler lockdown, and I know what it's like to be on toddler lockdown. And then there's people who just like, after work I am tired, or after work I got to go to the gym, and people's time is very precious to them, and it's hard for people to sit down, have a drink, and chill out and talk with other folks. And so I'm like trying to get in meet space, because you have a conversation on the blog, yeah, that works sometimes, and then you get into something on Facebook, that doesn't work out very much, although you get people to say things that are interesting, but sometimes it's just too adversarial. And then you get Twitter. I mean, I can't get into that. It's like my sentences, my English capability just does not dig sentences with 140 characters. I just can't do that, and I can't sustain a thought across 12 of those. That just does. I just like write a paragraph, okay? Jeez. So it's just not working. Social media is not working for me, and meetups are not working for me either, because when I have my meetups, not a lot of people show up, which is understandable. I'm crazy. I'm weird. I'm strange. I'm unusual. I'm abnormal. I'm extraordinary. But meetups that I go to, those are even worse. Because it's like you go to a philosophy meetup, and guy gets the book out, and he says, on page 250 of this Greek tragedy, we learned that Epictetus was saying this about the nature of reality. And I'm like, okay, I understand. And then you get folks who are like frightened. They're like frightened. I remember I went to some meetup, and it was over near USC at the Grinder restaurant, and I think it was something like ISIS, and they were just like, the Christians want to kill ISIS, and when they're finished with ISIS, they're going to come after us. It was just like people just coming out of some place where they don't have a lot of discussions about anything, and they get these crazy ideas, and you get in this loop. And I'm trying to tell people that you have to get out of your comfort zone and engage with people who are different than you, and sit down and have a drink and have a meal or something. But people don't want to do it. So kind of the reason why I'm on social media or blogging at all is because I've never had that problem. I'm always, ready to go out here, out there, wherever. And, like I said, I've done most of my work traveling across the country. And, I mean, you have to gain those cosmopolitan skills and deal with all kinds of people wherever they are, where they're coming from, and try to find something that you have in common with them so that you can work or accomplish something. And I think most people are not called to do that in their work unless you're like customer service or something. And nobody likes to be customer service anyway. I mean, I've sent my kids to work for like Macy's or something where they're doing the boxing during Christmas time, you know, that little part-time work. And my kids could do it, but some of my kids do it better than others. Like my youngest daughter, she doesn't suffer fools. She just doesn't. And that's one of her strengths. My oldest daughter, she could do that all the day. She's like, you know, Girl Scout cheerleader. She's not so bubbly as she used to be, but she likes people. She's a people person. My son, he's just his own little strange, you know, he's his own little strange penguin out on the iceberg. You never know what he's going to do. But he's also energetic. He's super energetic. And so he'll just get into bursts of energies and stuff like that. But like I said, people are different, and you need to get out of your comfort zone. And it's not easy for people to get out of their comfort zone sometimes. But I think it's necessary. So what I want to talk about is how we fix society. And I'm not saying that I perceive that society is broken. I have a great deal of faith in this country and the people of this country. We're really good people. And we're really good people because we have time to be good. We have work. There are people with money who will pay us for our work. We expect a paycheck. We get a paycheck. Our banks don't steal from us. You know, we might be stupid and open up too many credit cards, but generally speaking, you know, the cops are not bribable. The judges are not bribable. And white-collar criminality doesn't hit most of us. So more or less we have an honest society and still an open society. And I know we have a lot of paranoid freaks running around who are scared that the sky is falling. But, you know, I don't feel like that, you know. And all you have to say is go to the mall. Go to the movies. Go to Denny's. Oh, that's boring. Why do I want to do that? Exactly. It's boring. Because it works, and it's not a problem. And people just go and look at this massive 250,000 square foot place that's all there, sparkled up with lights and everything, so you can buy stuff that you don't really need, right? That's America. It's easy to live here. The living is easy. So we have time to be nice, but we also have time to be fierce. We have time to get bored. And so we fill up our lives with a lot of stuff that doesn't really, really matter, but it matters at a higher level because our lower levels are satisfied. I mean, we're fat, for God's sake. We don't have to run. We don't have to go pull our water out of a river. You know, we don't have to wipe our butts with our bare hands. We have paper that's made specially for that, right? Okay? And if you're really tender-butted, you can use the baby wipes. And I tell you, baby wipes are great. If you eat some like ghost chilies or something, baby wipes. I'm telling you, it's good stuff. But so we have all these like we have fake news, we have fake fights, and we have fake drama. And I'm not one of those people who are attracted to drama. I mean, my wife will sit and watch Scandal and Blue Bloods and Empire and Scrubs, and I don't know what else. Really, I don't. CSI, Sexual Victims Unit. Why would anybody watch a show about sexual victims? I mean, it's kind of an indication that your life is okay, right? So let me get deep for a minute. There's a thing called risk management, and everybody does it, and you do it too. And what you do is you balance your risk. So actually what happens is you give up one risky behavior, and then you're like, oh, I'm so good, I'll go do this other thing, right? It's like you said, well, I walked an extra lap today, I deserve an ice cream, right? And so you substitute one risk for another. Or you're bored and you have never gotten a ticket in like 2 years. So you're like, I never get a ticket. You floor it, right? And then you get the ticket. So there's a theory that I have, which is if you're from the hood and you actually had to deal with gangbangers as a young person, you're generally not the person who later on in life says, I want to go bungee jumping. I want to go skydiving. Because my life is so cushy that I need some additional risk or drama in my life, right? So you can tell people who are just like kind of mellowed out, like that's probably why Snoop Dogg is mellow. Because he's like, I escaped. I lived. I'm going to be mellow for the rest of my life. I'm going to have peace and quiet. But it's the little brats, you know, who grew up spoiled. Those are the ones who want to like road rage. So there's that, right? And I think, similarly speaking, if you don't have enough conflict and drama in your life, you probably will go watch it on TV. And then you feel like, I wonder if people are plotting behind my back the way they do on this courtroom drama TV show that I don't ever watch. So anyway, there's that. So I don't see why people, well, I mean, that's why I do see why people actually court drama, and Twitter's perfect for it, you know, for generating, you know, a kind of, you know, insult to somebody, and then you get tweet back, and you know, I just can't go for that. Still, you have to engage. So I have to engage. So I have to be here, and I have to, you know, look into the back of my stupid phone camera to reach out to people that I'm never going to meet in real life, but I'd like to meet. So that's kind of my dilemma, which is how much do we need to go out into social media to be social? And it's easy because you don't necessarily have to deal with those people in the Tommy Bahama shirts or, you know, in the line at Magic Mountain. You can't always pick your crowd. I mean, sometimes you feel like sharing something. It's like maybe the Kansas City Chiefs won, and that's why you're wearing red today, and you're really excited about that. But there's like, you're living in Southern California, there's no Kansas City Chiefs fans. So how do you express that? Well, it's easy. You go on social media, and then instant gratification, you got people who are Kansas City Chiefs fans, and you're like, yeah, go Chiefs. Nah, 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 nah. Do they do that? I don't know. Or the Redskins versus the Cowboys game. Yeah. And it's tough. It's a tough balance, you know, because everybody kind of wants to connect with their folks, but they kind of want it diverse enough so that they're slightly challenged. And that's kind of how I look at it. You know, people want challenges, but not quite enough challenges. And if they're not challenging enough, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. The weird thing is, though, I'm trying to get up to 1,000 friends on Facebook, which shouldn't be hard. If I just friended everybody, if I just like click, 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 click. But I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. I mean, I kind of want to, but then people's stuff shows up on my feed, and I have no idea where they're coming from. And I realize it's very unlikely that I'm going to have a decent conversation with them so that I could have something that stays in my mind that I would remember them by. You know, if it was all just, you know, puppy and kitten videos, I suppose that would be okay. But I think what I need is like a spectrum of people, maybe 100 people, where I can really say, all right, this is the far left person, or this is the far right person, or this is the highly businesslike person, and this is the totally random person. And then just get, you know, a SWAT cross-team bubble map of people that I would regularly interact with. And there's a theory called Dunbar's number, which is like 100, 150 are the actual number of people whose lives you actually know and you can actually remember. And that's like the size of a very small village, and that would be all you need to know. So maybe our problem is that we live in neighborhoods where nobody's neighbors, and it's hard for us to actually reach out and live or experience the way another person lives. So that's where the solution is. That's where the solution is. The solution is, if you get enough people who are just like crazy different, then you can experience them. If they're open and honest enough about how they live and how they think, then you can do that in social media and bring people together and have that 150 people that you really want to talk to, or you really want to hear talk. And that's the tough thing. The tough thing is that people do that with politics, and they don't do it with other stuff. You know, people are over-relying right now on politics, and the conversations that they want to have are political conversations, not so much social conversations. And our society is getting weak because people don't do book clubs. They don't even, I mean, Yelp is kind of like an example of how it could be, because you have people talking about food and culture, and that's a good thing. But then, you know, there's some people out there just like crazy spoiled, and they're just like, wow, we sat in line for 20 minutes to this private club, and we got in there, and we couldn't get a table, and it's like, oh God, you spoiled brat. So, but I mean, there's got to be high maintenance people in your Dunbar group too. So that's part of it. That's part of it. So I suppose kind of what I want to do in my new series, American Wag, with me and Mark, is not only to discuss politics, but to discuss social things so that we interact in terms of society. Because society is different than politics. Because when you agitate something in politics, so you listen to talk radio and Rush Limbaugh says something, or you're listening to Pacifica Radio and the guy on there says something, and you're just like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm in solidarity with that. And you look to this extreme idea, and you're like, this is what happens when you let the law be like this, because these people get to do this, and that's just wrong. And so that activism is what gets people fired up. And people without a lot of drama in their life are seeking drama. And politics it generates lots of drama. It doesn't generate a lot of solutions. It doesn't generate a lot of collaborative thinking. It doesn't generate a lot of resolution to age-old problems. It just gives you a chance to win, right? It gives you a chance to say, my side is right. My side is right. Our guy won. And then you know, spit at the other guys. Because Republicans don't want to be conservatives, and Democrats don't want to be liberals. They just want to win. They just want to rule D.C. They want to rule, and then they want to change your life. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Or maybe you want them to change your life. Maybe you want politics to be something more than what it is, which is like just picking the people who run the government. And what's the government supposed to run? The government's not supposed to run our lives. It's supposed to keep the potholes filled. It's supposed to keep the windows in the school clean. It's supposed to pay the teachers, all right? Or maybe like build high-speed trains, because everybody loves trains. Everybody over 60 loves trains. My God, you people. So maybe we shouldn't talk politics. We should talk social. And I was a heavyweight blogger back when the blogosphere mattered. And I still been blogging. I've been blogging for about 15, 16, what year is this? A long time. And I got off of politics. I'm done with it. I'm still public spirited. I'm public spirited in a way that I don't like myself, because I jump in and weigh in on these issues that I don't really care that much about, but that's what people are talking about, and you got to engage with other people, especially if, like me, you work at home. It's not easy to not engage with people that come to you online and ask you, Mike, you know, should I punch my boyfriend because he looked at this other girl, and I'm black and she's white? And it's just like, I suppose I could answer that question. I answer a lot of questions of teenage kids who are very confused about stuff. I kind of feel like I can help there. Because a lot of teenage kids or young people, they don't hear the hardball answer. People are like, oh, it's okay, you're special, you'll get over it, and people really love you. It's like that Stuart Smalley character, and you're like, ah. Some people has to, give them a hardball answer. I think I've been appreciated when I do that, when I give people a hardball answer. So anyway, if we did more of the social talking about society, about culture, about literature, about art, about music, and dance, and theater, and sculpture, and poetry, and philosophy, and spirituality, and religion, I don't care, as long as it's not politics, because politics is the art of coercion. It's the art of getting people to change the law, and law should not change that much. We don't need so much law. That's my theory. I understand human beings can be beasts, that people can be animals. They need to be restrained, and everybody needs rules and boundaries and fences. I get that. But for what they say, for what statues they like, it's getting a little bit too much time on your hands, too many laws on the books. Because remember, every law needs a policeman. And if you don't want to live in a police state, then you shouldn't give the police so many ways to get other people, right? And that's what I see. All this politics, all this activism. I'm an activist. Check out I've got a closet full of boards and Sharpies and costumes and hats that they can go out. Dude's got like bull horns with extra batteries and a solar panel thing on his head. I'm like, what? You're an activist, you're a community organizer. Was your community not organized? Were the streets just not there? Where nobody had a real house? Were there no plants or trees? I mean, how is your community disorganized? I mean, the houses were built 40 years before you were born. The sewer pipes, the water pipes, the electricity, you don't organize any of that. It's already organized. What are you trying to organize? Oh, you're trying to organize votes. You're trying to find issues and drama so you can change people's minds and get them out to vote and change the law, because there ought to be a law, right? What? Relax. Live. So I obviously don't like the idea of people who are engaged in the political process in order to coerce their neighbors because they don't like the way their neighbors think. And and why that happens is because, and you've seen it on Facebook, you know this to be true. People they agree to disagree, but they don't even like to agree to disagree. They just want to disagree and make the other person lose and say, yeah, in your face. So they're just like, okay, you won this time, but next time we're going to screw you really good. And then you'll say, oh no, but he's not my president. I don't have to respect anything you've done, but you just wait till next time we get our guy in there. Oh, you're going to suffer now, right? And it's just coercion. If your argument was that good, people would change their mind without you having to change the law, without you having to change the administration. If your song is that good, I'll dance to it. But you don't have to put handcuffs on me and puppetize me. I will respond like a human being to good music. If it sounds good, I'll dance to it. Just play it. Let me hear it. I'll either say, no, I don't like that, it's not going to make me dance, or I'll just say, oh, yeah, let's go to Pete, and I can dance to it. And that's how society should work. It's not how politics works. Politics today, because people don't know how to debate, and they don't know how to respect each other, I mean, don't even let me go there. But you know that to be the case. You're just like, you pick a side, you say the other guys are idiots, You only listen to your side of the story. You get a way that you can logically make sense and defend your argument. It makes sense to people like you, right? Doesn't make sense to the person in front of you in line for Colossus. Doesn't make sense to you, the guy in the Tommy Bahama shirt, but it makes sense to you and your people. So we have to win. So I'll be an activist. Read my sign. Read my Twitter. Read my Facebook. Follow me. Leave follower, get out the way. We got to win. We got to win. Because America is losing its mind. And if we don't take control, leave it alone. Let it be. You got me quoting John Lennon. That's bad. That's really bad. So I'm saying one of the things that I want to do in American WAG and on my own is get people to be part of my Dunbar group. Maybe it'll be a video blog league. It could be something like that. And maybe you're a vegan or a Wiccan, or maybe you're a transsexual, or maybe you're something that you think is unusual in America, and I'm cool. I'm gonna chill with you because I'm that kind of person. I don't look at the surface. I look at what you think about, and I look at how you treat people, and I look at how you live. I'm like, you see how I live? I got love up there on the wall. Can you see that? Can you see that? Love. That's why I come home every day and I see pictures of my loving family, and I see all that scotch, and I'm like, oh, this is home. This is home. I see that little Taekwondo white belt trophy. I'm like, man, I'm home. This is a cool place. This is a cool place. And I actually fully paid off my leather sofa. I wanted a leather sofa since I knew there was a such thing as leather sofas. Well, you know, when I wanted the black lacquer furniture too, but that was the 80s. But how you live, that's more important than who you vote for. Because the vote's supposed to be secret anyway, right? You're not supposed to, that you put it in the ballot box. You did your duty. You voted. Who you voted for is nobody's business. But they ask, well, who'd you vote for? I'm like, why? We already have football. We already have soccer. We already have baseball, basketball, hockey. We have things that we can jump up and be partisan and teamy about and say, in your face, sucker, we beat you, right? We don't need that for politics. Politics is going to go on. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-political. And I'm not apolitical. I have ideas about how things could be better. But most of those are about society, not necessarily about the role of government, you know? The role of government, let me put it to you this way. When you make a good amount of money, you can make $100 decisions all the time. All right? So, I remember when I was younger and I got my first job, I said, I want to be able to make enough money so that anytime I go to the ATM, I can get $40 and I'm good. All right? And then I turned 30 and I moved to New York and I said, all right, now I want to make enough money so that I can actually have a $100 date. So I could go out on a date and spend $100 and not feel like, you know? And now I just want a Porsche, but that's a different story. But I'm saying there's kinds of decisions that you can make all the time with your own money, and that's a good thing. But if you wait 4 years to vote for something, and then you change your mind, that's not, it doesn't roll fast enough. You can't back it up. You can't back up the VCR and just say, wait, no, I made a mistake. I want to go this way. It's like, once it's a law, that doesn't ratchet back. You can't hit the rewind. You can't undo. You can't control Z that. You have to live with it for a long time. So I think, we have enough other decisions that we can make in our lives where we can actually make a difference. We can actually go to Magic Mountain. We can actually buy that Tommy Bahama shirt or not. We can actually choose what colored things we're going to put on our wrists to make us look cool. But Society should change that way. I mean, you should pay more attention to the things where you actually can change them. Do you have the wisdom to know the difference? You can't change the government of the United States. It's huge. It's powerful. It has trillions of dollars. It has entrenched ways and means that we don't even understand. It has secret laws that are secret. And you're just gonna bust a blood vessel trying to get 100 other people to vote your way on something that you have no personal experience actually dealing with. Why? That's psychologically madness. So we should be a society. We should understand what your neighbors like, get to know them, and talk about those things that we actually are. We don't have to ask for empowerment. You don't have to ask for empowerment to be convincing yeah, come on over. I got Budweiser. Oh, you like Dos Equis? All right, I can go for Dos Equis, I suppose. But come over anyway. I'll go to the supermarket and get some Dos Equis, I suppose. Right? I mean, Mr. A is a craft beer. He loves craft beer. Do I have to remind you? Craft beer? Craft beer don't mean jack over here. All right? I like the brown drinks. That's me. I can go for tequila too, but beer just makes you fat. And then this, you get 2 fingers and you're taken care of. You don't have to walk around with a bottle in your head. Beer doesn't make sense. Now, if you're a beer person, I understand, but beer pong? What's that? What's that? That's crazy. And I can say that. And you can take that. All right? But it's not like you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat and she's a Libertarian and we can never right? I'm asking for efficiency. I'm not asking for agreement. I'm asking for a little collaboration. I'm asking for a little understanding. I'm asking for a little social contact. But I want people generally to socialize and live in the world of culture and people where they can actually make a difference, where they can decide and make decisions. Somebody walks in the door that I've never seen before. Well, they better not walk in the door without knocking. All right, nobody walks in the door because I'm armed. But you can make judgments about people, and you can say, "I like your hair, but your shoes are whack," right? And there's 100 things that you can say and find common ground with people, and people do that kind of naturally. We do that. I remember your face, but I don't remember your name. Oh, yeah. And what do you do for a living? Oh, okay. I don't know anything about that. You got to tell me how that works. And there's something, you go to that church over there? I went there one time, and that preacher was whack. He was talking about, oh, you got rid of that guy. Oh, you got a new guy now. Oh, tell me about that. And I like your car, but it smells funny. So there's all kinds of things that you can say in people's face, or at least this way, so that it's not life or death, busting a blood vessel, have to fight about it for 4 years before you get your way. You can be persuasive in social situations and be kind and gentle, and gently say, your shoes are ugly. Just yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna do that. I mean, I'm gonna do it, and it's one of the reasons that I talk, and I think people like hearing me talk. I hope so, because I like hearing me talk. So I'm gonna continue to do this, and I might talk about food or booze or music or dancing. Dancing I can't talk so much about. I don't have a dancing vocabulary. And my brother told me, it's very hard to have a jazz vocabulary too. I mean, there's only a few people who can communicate what music feels like it's hard. I mean, it's just better just to listen to the music, right? And then, of course, it's going to be YouTube, which means I'm not sure if I can play the music that I don't own or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I can certainly talk about other stuff than politics, and I will. And I'd like you to talk about other things than politics, and you will. And I think you will find that your life is more interesting when every aspect of it is not politicized. Because that's not what we're here for. We're not here to serve and put people in power. We're here to enjoy life. So, you know who I am. Peace out.